Why hasn't our Christian nation ever looked Christian, is what you're saying. And why do we have, such a high rate of incarceration? The discrepancy between the rich and the poor gets greater and greater and greater. And we have 4 times more guns than any nation and 4 times the homicide rate. But that's just simply coincidental, because guns are making us safer. That one, honestly, I have to say that I don't like to weigh in on political issues, but I just will tell you, that is the claim that makes the least sense to me, that guns make us safer, when all the evidence goes against it. And if guns did make people safer, then wouldn't we be the safest nation on the planet? Because we've got 4 times the most guns. Instead, we have 4 times the homicide rate of any other nation. Anyways, that's just, but look at, the whole problem you pose is premised on this idea that we're supposed to be a Christian nation. And we're not, and we never have been, and we never will be. You're never going to have a Christian nation any more than you're going to have a Christian petunia or a Christian bicycle. Nations aren't the kind of things that turn the other cheek and that love their enemies and that lay down the sword and that wash the feet of the people who are going to betray you. Nations don't do that. They exist in a violent, war-torn creation by being willing to use the sword and use threats. And Jacques Ellul has a lot on this in his great book on violence, that nations and violence go hand in hand. And really, nations and governments, from a biblical perspective, are antichrist. God never wanted humans to have a king. He was supposed to be the king. He says, rule the earth and the animals. He doesn't say rule each other in Genesis 1. And that's why with Israel, early on in Israel, they didn't have a king. He says, let me be the king. And finally they rebelled in 1 Samuel 8, and they go and say, oh, we want a king to be like everyone else to fight our wars. And that's when God says, look, they haven't rejected you, Samuel, they've rejected me. So to have a human king is to reject God. Now God works with them. He always meets us where we're at. Fine, you want to have a king, we'll do that. But it's going to be bad for you, he says. You think it's going to help things, it's not. So we're never supposed to have this being ruled by other humans and whatever. And so to try to Christianize that, it's like trying to get rid of adultery by fornicating. It just doesn't work.
That sounds softened. And you say that all under the protection of that very sword.
Well, look at, I don't choose where I'm going to be born or where I'm going to live or anything like that. My call is simply, any kingdom prince call is simply to be as the kingdom in that environment. And in some situations you have advantages over others. Others you have other kinds of advantages. So every nation has an upside or downside. And I love America. I appreciate the freedom I have to talk to you like this out in public. And I don't want to minimize that. That's better. That's better than being an oppressive regime. But it's not Christian. Christian is something totally different. So of course we're going to have, given the fallen nature of human beings, so long as the human heart is greedy and self-centered, you're going to have disparities. Because the more you get, the more you can get, and the less you get, the less you can get. So you're always having growing disparities. You'll always have violence, because as long as people are greedy and idolatrous and are protecting their little gods and their little land and getting life from how powerful they are or whatever, there's always going to be competition. So you always got to squelch the competition. As long as we're fallen, we'll keep on thinking that if only we kill a few more people, if only enough of us righteous people will kill enough of the bad people, then we'll have peace. And that lasts for 10 years until their kids grow up and their resentment leads them to then conquer us. And the merry-go-round goes round and round, and I don't have any, I think we should, as much as possible, prevent war, get in the gap, be peacemakers. But the hope isn't found in, I don't think nations finally getting it. They're not going to get it. The hope is found in Jesus Christ when his kingdom is fully established on this planet.
Now, during the day of grace, the door of heaven is open wide, and the Savior's invitation to all is, come.